Hey everybody, this is Trey Simmons, and today I'm just going to be taking you through my MVC user login application. As you can see, it's nothing more than just an HTML form for a user login interface, and we'll just be checking our username and password against a database and then authenticating based on that information. So I have our database over here. It's just filled up with a bunch of comic book stuff, users based on different superheroes. They each have a username, a password that's been coded or hashed, and then a full name that will display once we get logged in. So if we try that, mine right here, when I log in, it takes me to a screen that uses my full name from the database and gives me a success message. I can log back out and log back in with someone else, Captain America, and it does the same thing for Captain America. It returns their full name and gives a success screen. I stuck pretty close to the tutorials on this, except for one thing. I did add a little bit of error catching, like if I add a hashtag, I wanted the username and the password to have to be just text strings, so no bad code could be slipped in there. And when you do that, even if I put the right password in, it'll take me to an extra page here that gives an error message and asks for a valid username and password combination. And we can go back and redo that again. So looking at the code for this, start with the index. Basically, it's pretty straightforward. We required all of our necessary information, created a model to load all of our information from the database and to check our username and password, instantiated a new view to display the nice interface over here, grabbed the user input from that HTML form and prepared to query our server to get our user information. Then here's the cool part, I thought, session start. That's where we start the session for that user, and on login, our server actually stores a session variable that holds information about our user and allows us to navigate away from the page, come back, and still be logged in. It's kind of like Facebook. You'll see that if the session data element user info exists, that means there's already a session in progress and we should just continue with that session. You have a second conditional to check and make sure that there are a username and password on submission, and that's how we actually log in the user that way. We reference the model to log in our user with this method here. If we go over to the model and check that out, it simply when it's instantiated, sets up the connection to the database and then requests the hashed password and the username input by the user. It returns it as an array, which we then use to start a session and output our success message, seen over here. And that's just that welcome back page. Our form, footer, and header were all added dynamically in the page in our view, which simply includes the files we need at the position we do to construct the HTML page. And that's pretty much the entire application. Pretty straightforward. We just took that user and password information and authenticated it against a database and allowed for user login functionality. Thanks.